going on, Jerome? So we're back. Take a look at another mock draft from CBS Sports Ryan Wilson. He done did it again. Now, I fully understand that it is a long way to the NFL draft, and I feel like mock draft 17.0, but I feel like sometimes you just like draw names out of a hat just to get reactions on the Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. So, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack, and the Vikings somehow, some way end up with Jamar Chase. And I don't know, is that realistic? I mean, maybe. If dominoes fall the right way, it's a possibility. It's a non-zero chance, but it is relatively small. But that would be an interesting decision for the Vikings to have to make. Hey, we do have needs at defensive line, edge rusher, offensive line, but just the idea of pairing Jamar with Justin friggin' Jefferson again with Adam Thielen as wide receiver 3, certainly up there. So, I mean, let's get into this thing because this thing definitely moved the needle a little bit. And that's the point. Because it would be so boring if you just had the same mock draft every single week. So just, what about this? What about this? So number 1, Trevor Lawrence. I want a mock draft that doesn't have Trevor Lawrence at 1. Like, that is coming. Like, that day is coming. Mark my words. Number 2, Zach Wilson goes to the Jets. Joe Douglas gets his guy. And then, presumably, they trade Sam Darnold for some picks. Or, I mean, hell, maybe you do just hang on to Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson and let them duke it out. Why not? Micah Parsons at 3. Now, is this a little high for an off-ball linebacker? Maybe, but Parsons is an absolute talent, and yeah, put him in the middle as an inside linebacker and floors his defense. Also, let him rush a little bit. Big things, right? But I don't know, do they consider quarterback here? There's no trades in this draft, as well as it isn't parsed out where Matthew Stafford goes, so that isn't factored into the equation. So I think this is still a prime trade down spot for a team who really wants to get into the Justin Fields business. But also, Justin Fields takes a little bit of a tumble. For Penei Sewell, I respect this pick. I like it. If I'm the new Falcons GM, whoever it's going to be, I get it, but I don't know. It would be so hard to pass up on Justin Fields, especially if Arthur Smith is in, him being the local guy, and if Justin Fields goes somewhere else and has success, then it's going to be like, yeah, you passed up on the local guy. Oh, he's an all-pro. Oh, he won Super Bowls. Yeah, great job, Falcons. But Penei Sewell, I get it. He's the best offensive line prospect in this draft. You do have Matthews and McGarry. Do you kick Matthews inside? You have Sewell start inside and eventually take over at one of the tackle spots? 5, Bengals, Rashawn Slater. So you miss out on Sewell, but pick up the second best offensive line prospect. I would play him at tackle and kick Jonah inside, or play Slater at tackle or at right tackle, or kick him inside the guard. Either way, protect the burrow. Next up is the Eagles. Eagles have their choice of wide receivers. All right, so they could go Jamar Chase, they could go Waddle, they could go Devontae Smith in the spot, but they go Pitts. Now, before you freak out and be like, well, they have Ertz and Goddard. Well, they could be on their way out, and they might actually even trade Zach Ertz this offseason. So Kyle Pitts, also, don't think of Pitts as a tight end. He's not really a tight end. Think of him more as like Plexico Burress, but pure matchup nightmare for Jalen Hurts, or maybe they patch things up with Carson Wentz. I don't know. 7, no Pants for Trey Lance. So they have their choice of Fields and Lance at 7, and they go with no Pants for Trey Lance. This kind of stinks. Because now we have to go up against Trey Lance twice a year. And he's going to have to start right away in all likelihood, unless they go with Chase Daniel or David Bling. 8. So the Panthers, so this is tailor-made. Justin Fields at 8, but they pass. Picking up Caleb Farley, speed and length to go with a long, fast, young defense. It's kind of annoying, the defense that they're building in Carolina. Quickly going to be one of the best in the league. 9. So you think this is the Justin Fields spot. No, Mac Jones, come on down. You were the first draft pick of George Payton and the Broncos. Wow. So I understand not being fully sold on Drew Lock, especially since you didn't pick him, George Payton. But, I mean, Mac Jones over Justin Fields. I get that maybe Mac Jones might be the safer pick. This won't be second guessed at all, man. But Mac Jones does come into an interesting scenario. You got Garrett Bowles on your backside. You got Jawan James at right tackle. You have weapons in Sutton and Judy and Hamler and Fant. Oh my. Oh my. 10. Could you say that, all right, depending on what happens with Dak, I actually don't think that they're going to work out a long-term deal. Maybe they just slap the second franchise tag on him. And if Dak hasn't signed that second franchise tag by the time the draft comes around and Justin Fields is just sitting there chilling, like, do you make that pick and then rescind the franchise tag? Ooh, it would be tempting. But Patrick Surtain, the second quarterback off the board, Bama in that backfield makes sense. 11. So the Giants. Could this be the Justin Fields spot? I mean, as Justin Fields tumbles, every single team, you're just like, could this be it? Could this be it? Are you really sold on Danny Dimes? But now, Kwity Paye coming on in and replacing that edge presence, that interior presence as well after Leonard Williams likely leaves the free agency. Come on in. 12, Niners, Devontae Smith. So now this would be the Justin Fields spot. No? Is this where Stafford likely lands? But Devontae, this is a pure case of BPA. Now, I get it. You already have Ayuk, you already have Debo, you already have Kittle at tight end, but I mean, this is similar to Randy Moss falling to the 98 Vikings, where they already had Reed and Carter. But yeah, but if they did trade for Matthew Stafford, like, how do they still have the number 12 overall pick? Did they package 2-2-3? I don't know. 13. So the Chargers. Is this the? No, probably not going to take Justin Fields in this spot. But Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman, off the board, play him at guard, play him at tackle. They have to protect Herbert somehow. And now the Vikings. So, I mean, could the Vikings go Justin Fields in this spot where you weren't really expecting your potential quarterback of the future to fall to this spot, but he's there? And if there is a team that wants to jump the Patriots, who obviously are going to take Justin Fields, I think it's a prime trade down spot. So say the Colts didn't get Matthew Stafford and they wanted to jump the Patriots for Justin Fields and they didn't think he'd be available. Washington at 19, the Steelers at 24 would all be viable options. But I mean, if the Vikings don't take Justin Fields here and you have Jamar Chase on board, I mean, how could you not take him? Like, I fully understand that Barmore, Darrisaw, Rousseau, Azeez Ujulari are more pressing needs at this point, but just in terms of BPA, because people forget Jamar Chase is a bad dude. He is a bad dude. And him with Justin Jefferson and Thielen, you suture up the offensive line in later rounds, and all of a sudden, hell, instead of rebuilding that defense, let's just score 50 a game. I don't care. Plus, then Adam Thielen does probably have 3 to 4 good years left, and then you're left with Chase and Jefferson. I'm okay with that. Best wide receiver duo in the league. Best wide receiver trio in the NFL. Maybe going down in history. It's possible. Challenging 98, 3 deep. I like it. 15. So the Patriots taking Justin Fields. How could the league let this happen? How could you just be like, well, we're going to pass on Justin Fields because we're concerned about this and this and this. And all of a sudden he goes to the Patriots. He works with Josh McDaniels. He works with Belichick. And all of a sudden they're back being Super Bowl contenders. How dare you? 16, J.C. Horn replacing Patrick Peterson's got that length. Pride of South Carolina. I like it. 17, Gregory Rousseau's draft day slide stops. Now, they're going to turn him into Ted Hendricks 2.0, man. Play him at linebacker, play him on the edge, play him inside, play him everywhere. Actually, I don't know if he could play stand-up outside linebacker. I don't know, maybe. But, Mike Mayock and John Gruden have made stranger first-round picks. 18, so Dolphins pick up Jaylen Waddle. Wow. Like, how do you just get Jaylen Waddle to fall into your lap at 18? So reuniting him with Tua, deep threat speed for days, Waddle and Devontae and Preston. I mean, that's a nice trio. That was a nice trio of receivers. Plus they got Gesicki stepping up as a tight end. 19. So they obviously would have loved if Justin Fields would have fell even further, but not so much. Now, you easily could have seen them take Darrisaw in the spot or even Tevin Jenkins to finally replace Williams at left tackle. But, yeah, Kadarius Toney. I mean, that's a lot of fun. Kadarius Toney with Scary Terry, with Gibson. I mean, those are absolute 3 dynamic playmakers for Taylor Heineke. Right? 20. So the Bears could easily take Christian Barmore in this spot, but they take the other Christian. The Christian that would annoy me. So put Barmore on the defensive line next to Akeem Hicks, and then you have Hicks and Barmore coming on the offense on the defensive line, replacing RRH, and then you got Mack, and it's annoying. Quinn on the other edge. Yeah, That's gross. That is a really gross addition to the front seven, because I think Barmore is just really starting to scratch the surface of that potential. I think he could eventually become an all-pro caliber player. 21, Darrisaw. Now, again, presumably they have Stafford, but, if they have Stafford, why do they still have 21? But Darrisaw coming in, replacing Costanzo 1-for-1. It's a good pick. 22, Aziz, Tennessee Titans. Do need some edge presence. Aziz is one of the highest ceilings edge rushers in the draft. 23, Jason Oweh coming into the Jets. I like this pick, man. I do. So the Jets get Zach Wilson at 2, and then they come back and get their edge rusher of the future. So Oweh is an absolute physical specimen. He is a tools guy. Could he be Danielle Hunter 2.0 in terms of physical skills versus production in college? Man. But yeah, I think that he's a lot less polished than Danielle Hunter was coming out of school. But I mean, he's going to be in that mix with Jonathan Franklin Myers, and it's going to be really interesting with the Jets on the edge. 24. So the pickup Jalen Phillips here, edge rusher from Miami, because Bud Dupree was on the franchise tag, then he tore his ACL, unfortunately, so he's probably out, and you do need some edge presence opposite of TJ. But no offensive line. I mean, Jenkins would make sense here. No quarterback. I mean, they're obviously out of range of that. Is Stafford here? I mean, that's always the big question. Like, is Stafford here? Like, what team does Stafford go? Because that's severely going to impact how the draft plays out. But, 25. So Tevin Jenkins. First, he got the house. Now you pay for the insurance. So you got Trevor Lawrence, and now get him some protection on the blind side. Because Cam Robinson probably going to leave free agency. But Jenkins, I do really like him coming out of Oklahoma State. It's not sexy. It's not over the top. But rock solid meat and potatoes left tackle. Next up, 26, Browns getting Joke, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Money backer for Stefanski in that defense. 27, Carlos Basham Jr. Now, I would actually like Basham to the Browns, but is what it is. But 27, how do the Ravens keep getting away with this? So Judon, Yannick the Freak probably gone, and Basham just comes in, rock solid, future Michael McCrary. Or actually Basham sort of reminds me of Calais Campbell, which is kind of fitting since he's playing out the last years in Baltimore. Saints. Zaven Collins, linebacker to the Saints. It's a fait accompli. 29, Rondale Moore. This sucks. This one sucks. A dynamic playmaker. Think about Tyler Ervin if he's actually good, but play Rondale Moore in the slot out wide at running back return game. It sucks. Now, how dare you? How dare you help the octogenarian Aaron Rodgers like this? 30. So Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia, who I like. You got the length, but I don't know. You got Tre'Davious White. You got Josh Norman. Dane Jackson from Pitt, who I like coming in, is doing some nice things. But, I mean, I'd rather go wide receiver. Like, I'd rather go Terrace Marshall or Rashad Bateman in this spot, because Stephon Diggs needs some help. He really does. 31, Najee Harris to the Bucs, where I get it, but would you rather go Etienne here? Also, I mean, Rojo and Fournette, I mean, they were solid this year. I mean, they were good. Could you go edge rusher in this spot? I'd rather. And 32, Joseph Asai, edge rusher from Texas, replacing Tano Passano. Yeah, makes sense. Guys who didn't make it. So Kyle Trask. Now, you think with with the run on quarterbacks, maybe Kyle Trask would sneak into the back end of the first round, but not so much. Travis Etienne, the other running back not taken. Najee Harris went in the first round. Wide receivers, Terrace Marshall Jr. I mean, I don't think Tutu is a first-round pick, but Daniel Jeremiah did, so, Rashad Bateman, the Gophers' big-body wide receiver, didn't get in. Pat Freiermuth, the other tight end in this draft, by the way, coming out of Penn State, nope. Cosme, Leatherwood, Mayfield, Davis didn't make it on the offensive line. Davion Nixon was a defensive tackle who didn't make it. I think Barmore's probably going to get in the first round, but I think this could be a draft where only one defensive tackle goes first round, but then a lot of them are going to go day 2. And then linebackers, Bolton, Moses didn't get in. Zaven Collins and Joke did as well. Micah Parsons did as well. Asante Samuel Jr., the other cornerback, didn't get in, as well as Trevin Morig, the safety who potentially could go first round, didn't quite make the cut either. So, I mean, that was that was bat bleep insane. But if it works out where the Vikings just end up with Jamar Chase, it's probably unlikely. But I think we covered this before. I think that it could be a spot where the Vikings will have a decision where one of the top 3 wide receivers or Kyle Pitts could easily make it to 14. Now, could it be a spot where Chase and Waddle both make it to 14? Probably not. But if one of those 4 drop, I think the Vikings would have a decision on their hands. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Your thoughts? Ryan Wilson's latest CBS Sports mock draft. Again, I think he just like shakes up dice and he like shakes a magic 8 balls. Like, is this good? Yeah, sure, why not? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. We'll support that work. Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.